on then.
What was your complaint? Am I supposed to complain about myself?
Oh, right, the Instapot. The Instapot. And what did we have before? What was the other device called that we bought from an infomercial?
The toxic pot.
Toxpot. What was it called?
I don't know. It's just toxic.
It's toxic, she thinks, because it has an aluminum, as they say in America, not aluminium. I've forgotten how to say aluminium. Aluminium. I've been in America too long now. I've kind of lost the plot.
It's not aluminum.
Yeah, you say aluminum here.
I know, but the pot has got some weird coating on it that's peeling off.
Well, then you should be happy because the coating is no longer on it.
Yeah, we're eating the coating.
We're eating the aluminum.
But it's probably got aluminum underneath it.
Well, anyway, it's like, I'm sure it had to pass some kind of code to get, it has to pass some sort of safety standard to get put out there in the public domain. Anyway, moving swiftly on. So what happened last night was that Rohini was doing an intensive with someone in another country on a different time zone. So you were doing it you were starting, I guess, at 9 o'clock at night. We both had very busy days yesterday, and I finished up my calls probably around 5, and then I rushed to the shops, got some food, and came back, and I think there was probably maybe an hour and a half window before you had to start your Zoom call at 9.
And I had fallen down the stairs, so I was resting because my neck hurt.
So you're resting because your neck hurt. And so I took it upon myself to make dinner in the new Instapot that has a steel-based pot.
Stainless steel.
Stainless steel pot. And so, but this is all new to me, relatively new, and I don't like change.
Probably within the last 3 months.
Well, I haven't used it that often, but I was very familiar with the last pot, the Tox pot. And that was my comfort zone around cooking a quick meal. So I bought some lamb, bought all the accoutrement to make a nice lamb stew, and something in the whole system. Oh, that's what happened. It then came up with this digital displays that spelt out the word burn. And I've seen that before, and I just assumed that was part of the process because I had seen that before when I made chili.
It's like a burn setting.
I thought it was I didn't think it was a setting. I just thought that was that's how it decides to cook chili, and I assumed that's how it decides to cook a stew.
It's like the finishing touch is burn.
Anyway, there was a very small window to get this meal cooked. It was going to take 30 minutes. In the old Tox pot, it would have taken 20. But in this new Instant Pot, it was 30. And then I had to go through this whole weird burn zone business. And then it just occurred to me, well, maybe that's not a good idea that it says burn. So I then started to fiddle around with the settings. And then it went back to the beginning. Which at this point, I think it was about 25 past. Was it 8 or 7? I don't know. Whatever it was like getting close to the point where you wouldn't be able to have the meal in time. So I may have made a few off color statements at that point. And I was getting a bit sped up and wound up. And then I stupidly shared this information with you, and you said it's not supposed to burn, it's not supposed to say burn, you're going to have to turn it off. It's not cooking, it's not even cooking at this point. So lo and behold, it was not cooking and it was burning, and when I opened up the lid, there was no pressure whatsoever. And I scraped back the stew, and there was all this horrible burn on the bottom of the pot. So basically I had to start again. And then
in the Tox pot.
Well, in the Tox pot, but I think before I got to the Tox pot stage, at some point I really flew off the handle.
You did.
That's because I basically missed the window of opportunity, and then
No, what happened was I went to the fridge to open the fridge door and said, "What else is there to eat?" That's all I did.
Well, I'd had a really long, hard day, and I didn't like the idea that I had to go shopping. So I came back and I went shopping, and then I had to cook for about, it felt like a long time prepping all that food. to go into the pot. So I felt like I'd take an hour out of my day so that you and I could have dinner together and have a nice lamb stew. And then at the point where you decided you're going to eat something else.
Because I have a 9 o'clock session and I'm hungry.
I exclaimed, I hate beep cooking. And you decided to take that very personally. And we could have really got into it. And I would say you kind of got into it. I showed a little bit of restraint, although I was very angry when I said I hate effing cooking. You seemed to think that was all directed at you.
Yes.
Which part of it was. But it was more my dismay at the current situation. But, so I decided I'll go elsewhere. So I went into the bedroom.
Very good idea.
Settled down.
Very good idea.
Came out and said, after about 10 minutes, what did I say?
I don't remember.
I said something quite conciliatory.
Yes.
And owned my bad behaviour. But it was that was it. It was all said and done. You know, we moved on from there. I kind of realised that I was out of balance. You were out of balance. I didn't really have any judgment for you, either towards you or towards myself. I don't know how you felt.
I felt I was hungry and I needed to eat.
You were hangry.
And I got a bit hangry with you.
I guess we were both hangry. It was the perfect storm. But I was reminded today of how relationships kind of feel a little bit like a Hawaiian volcanic island. A beautiful Hawaiian volcanic island.
Do you say more?
Well, so you could live on a beautiful volcanic Hawaiian island, and you would just come to terms with the fact that there will once in a while be the odd little volcanic eruption, but the island, however big that eruption may be, will always find a way to restore itself back to its former beauty. And yet we get so hung up on trying to sort of manage the magma that lies below the surface and forget that the whole thing is built on a bedrock of love, and we quite often try and manage. When that fails, we then walk away. You know, some people are inclined to walk away from their relationship, but if we just trust that we'll come back into our natural balance, that there is an intelligence behind life pushing towards balance and harmony, then we probably could live with all those little foibles, those little interruptions, those little volcanic interruptions.
Yeah.
Knowing that everything will come back into balance.
Well, that's a nice metaphor. And it's true in terms of last night. We had an eruption. We did. And then we came back into balance and all was well.
Yes.
But I don't want to use the tox pot anymore.
See, it's kind of like when we go, like you have this real thing about eating organic food, and it's almost like our life depended on it at home. When we go to a restaurant, quite often you don't eat organic food. You're not screaming at the chef, like, did you buy this broccoli at Whole Foods? Or is this a grass-fed lamb?
They're always grass-fed.
Oh, they are always grass-fed. That's why we probably eat a lot of lamb. But there's not some sort of inquisition that takes place in a restaurant. You're always perfectly happy about that. Why
What's
is
your
that?
point?
Well, I'm just saying, once in a while, you know, it's not going to kill you to eat food out of an aluminum pot.
With the bottom, whatever it's made of.
Or eat a sheep that's been fed on, I don't know, some sort of pellet.
You're probably right. I get militant.
You do get militant. It's your militant tendency comes out around food and toxicity, tox pots and...
Oh well, we all have our things.
We all have our magma. This is my point.
Have a good weekend, everybody.
Have a lovely weekend.
Bye.
Bye-bye.